Along with James Wesley, I'm Ari Tempkin. It's Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio. We are presented by Modelo, heard on TuneIn, watched on Big 12. All right. Ryan Hammer, our friend who does a fantastic job from the Blue Blooded Pod, joins us now here on Big 12 Radio. But it looks like you've taken a pause from college basketball, Ryan, and you've gone all in on World Cup soccer.
Listen, it's appreciate you guys having me on again, obviously, first of all, but it's a passion of mine. It's always been that way, and I don't know, it just kind of came about that way. Basketball is still in my brain. I'm still doing the behind the scenes stuff, so don't get it twisted.
I do want to ask you a World Cup question here, and we want to talk draft. I get it. It did not impact US's draw in the round of 32, but the idea that the loss to Turkey was, like didn't matter, the game didn't matter to me is ridiculous. And it was a horrible ending. Now I know our backup defense is bad. That's like the main takeaway, right? What else should be my main takeaway, Ryan? But I guess talk me off the ledge after that loss.
Don't I shouldn't need to say much. I should just shake my head and be like, you're overthinking this way too much. They played nobody. Christian Pulisic played a little bit just to get kind of tuned up a little bit, and he looked great. But Turkey is a good squad, I will say. Like efficiency wise, metrics wise, they've been one of the top like 15 teams in the entire tournament, even though they just could not convert and score goals in those first couple of games. But we had nothing to play for. They had nothing to play for. Also, obviously, they want to go out with a win, and you're overthinking it. And just worry about the first two games that we played. We looked great, and we put ourselves in a position to not have to care about that game.
Yeah. By the way, I also love that you have a trapezoid of excellence for the World Cup too. I mean, that's amazing.
People have been asking for it, and then I thought of it, and I was like, it sounds kind of stupid, but like theoretically, it makes sense. And then in practice and in proof of history, it kind of is there. And so I was like, you know what? F it, expletive it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, the U.S. is just outside of the trapezoid of excellence. So talk me off that ledge. And what goes into the World Cup trapezoid of excellence?
So the U.S. just outside because of that third game. They would be just in it if you take the third game out, or ideally if they would have played obviously a full game with their guys. It's basically the same thing. Like college basketball one is much more study into it and much more proof of concept, but college basketball one is paced by overall efficiency. The soccer one, World Cup one is, I call it verticality by essentially overall efficiency. It's like basically like a KenPom rating, what FOPMOB rating is. So take it as just overall like a KenPom rating, but the verticality measures things like progressive pass attempts and line break attempts, which is basically like how often relative to how many passes in possession you have, how often are you trying to push the ball forward? And basically, if you do that too much, you're being too aggressive. And if you don't do it enough, you're not doing it enough.
Excellent. Who do you think wins it all, Ryan?
My gut says France at this point, the best team in the world. They're unbelievable. I picked Brazil pre-tournament, but they haven't really found their full rhythm yet. But I guess I'll say France. I like the Netherlands too, though. I think they're a sleeper.
How far do we get?
I think quarterfinal, which is great. That'd be awesome.
That'd be,
Yeah,
I think is
Yeah,
what
that'd be sick.
yeah.
yeah, we take that.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. So if I scroll way, way down your Twitter feed, I find a little college basketball talk. Want to ask you about the draft and stash with the guy that got taken by the Clippers,
Yeah.
and he's going back to college. He's going to play for Auburn. How in the world does that work? And is this going to be another trend that we see?
So a small trend, maybe. It when I first saw it, I like was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, how did this get past us on draft night?
Same.
Narcisse Ngoy, he's an international guy, hadn't played college basketball. He's turned 22 or he's turning 22 this year. He committed to Auburn in March, like all the other older international guys have. There's tons of them in college basketball. He never formally declared for the draft, but when you're turning 22 as an international guy before that next season starts, you are automatically eligible to get drafted. It's kind of like that meme of that one Barstool guy who does like the me when he gets drafted. That's exactly what happened, where he didn't know he was getting drafted. He never talked to them. Apparently, he had no clue. He probably maybe he wasn't even watching. Who knows? And he got drafted. So essentially what's going to happen is he will play at Auburn this year. Next year, if he decides to go to the NBA, the Clippers have his rights to sign him. Otherwise, he becomes a free agent. He can't get drafted again. This won't. All I hope is that it doesn't happen with college guys, and I don't think it will, because of like the foregoing the rest of your eligibility when you leave, and the NCAA standing 10 toes down on that. But for guys that are turning 22, international guys that haven't played college before, which again, this is a sub 1% category type of thing. That's why you won't see it being a massive trend. But for guys in that situation, like Narcisse and Goy was and is in, you might see that again, but it's a very rare thing, I think.
Mm. Ryan, one of the picks you liked, and you tweeted about it, was Christian Anderson for the Hornets. What do you like about that? And two, I guess, does the LaMelo trade make that even of a bigger deal for Anderson?
Yeah, we're excited here, right? All of us are excited for him now, and everybody in Lubbock is super pumped. But he's great. He's an awesome kid. I've gotten to know him really well, him and his family too. And I think he's a really underrated guard and player in this draft because there's so many of those freshmen, like high upside elite guards also. But to me, he was a lottery prospect. The way he could shoot, the way he defends better than his size says, and the way he can play making took that leap this year. And I think he is going to be a really good player right away and be like an Emmanuel Quickly, Tyrese Maxey type of player, hopefully, which would be awesome. And now LaMelo being gone, and then Charlotte kind of reorganizing what they're doing. They clearly knew about that, obviously before they drafted him, so they're excited for him just like we are.
Ryan, when you look at some of the guys that were drafted in the second round, you noted that Emmanuel Sharp was one of your second round steals, and he strikes me as a guy because he works so hard. He can shoot it at such a high clip that he's just going to have longevity in the NBA. What do you like about Emmanuel Sharp, and what do you see for his future?
You said it, James. Like that, there's no way he's not at least decent in the NBA. And I think the Kings, who have a need for everything, I think that's great because he should be able to play right away and help them out. But just an absolute dog, Houston player through and through. And these Houston guys have been so good in the league and so underrated, and they're going to keep doing that with Kingston and Kristen Mack also. But Emmanuel Sharp's incredible. He's the motor and work ethic is second to none. The shooting ability, I think, is way underrated. Like he shoots so effortlessly from the parking lot so many times on the big stage too. So I'm super excited for him. He deserves this opportunity.
Have you noticed, Ryan, the NBA, are there trends in terms of what they're looking for? Has that changed? Just have you kind of made any observations about the type of players that the NBA is looking for right now, and how much has that changed?
Yeah, it definitely ebbs and flows, and I think the NBA is kind of a copycat league, so teams will kind of try to replicate things that the Spurs and the Thunder have been doing, and even the Knicks, obviously. Like the small guards didn't get shoved to the bottom like they normally do, maybe because of Jalen Brunson, maybe by a few picks and stuff like that, but which is great for the guys like Christian Anderson and Darius Acuff, who are again quote small guards when like they're really not that small at all. And same thing with Kingston, obviously too, but he plays way bigger than his size lists him at. But I think maybe the age thing is kind of been thrown out the window where the last 10 years, I think the last 5 years, we've seen a trend of the older college guys kind of get more respect by year because teams are getting burned by not taking the Jalen Brunson, by not taking the Andrew Nemhard and the Malcolm Brogdon in 2016. Like you're missing out on these guys that are so clearly great and still have room to grow. So Bennett starts going at pick 16, and even a lot of the guys like Alex Caravan, Joshua Jefferson, Terrace Reed all in the first round, and then the entire second round. Obviously, like I don't think teams are shying away from guys just because of age now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Ryan, was this the best draft that you've covered?
Hard to say. Like the Wemby Scoot draft a few years ago was like a little different just because the top of that was like ungodly with Victor, obviously, and even Scoot was regarded as an amazing prospect. But I think the lottery has never been this deep, and the top 20 has never been this deep in my few years doing it so far. I do think last year's class was really good, also, honestly, especially at the top, in the top 5, 6, 7 guys. But I'd say in the top 15 to 20 this year is probably the best I've seen. Yeah.
Hmm. Did you agree with Peterson going too?
Yeah, I thought it made sense. I like him. I think people have their opinions about him, which I understand from a fan's perspective. But after I got to talk to him the day before the draft for a while and meet him and stuff, I think I fully trust everything that has been coming out of his camp. And he's just a reserved guy, and they kind of keep things close to the chest, which I kind of respect and like. And hopefully he gets a chance. I mean, he's going to get his chance in Utah for sure to kind of flourish right away. So.
Yeah. And Ryan, when you looked at your favorite team fits, you noted several Big 12 guys. Cam Carr going to the Lakers. I'm super high on him. And then Kingston Flemings also going to the Hawks. Was hoping he would slide to 9 so the Mavs could nab him. But what do you see in those two?
Listen, I'm a Hawks fan, so I'm ecstatic. I
Oh,
love it.
okay.
And everyone knows me. They know I love that kid, and I know him personally better than I know any of the other guys in the draft, probably. Unbelievable person and player, and he fits what the Hawks need. And I'm so happy he slipped to 8, and it is genuinely a great fit for him. And Cam Carter of the Lakers is going to be amazing because not only is he effective on the court, obviously, but he gets into a situation where a lot of eyeballs are going to be on him, and he's Showtime. Like, he is a flashy player. He makes the sexy plays, the big dunks, the big plays, the big blocks, and everything. And he's all about that energy. And he's a very bubbly person also. Like, he's going to fit in so well with not only the team there when they need him the most in the athleticism and the 3-point shooting, but he's going to fit in culturally with LA also.
Great stuff as always, Ryan Hammer. Always appreciate your time. Check out the Blue Blooded podcast. Check out the great work that Ryan does, and of course, we'll be following along throughout the World Cup, Ryan. So thank you.
Appreciate you guys as always. All right.
See you, Ryan.
Be well.